Childhood Circles by Dr. Alon Giladi. Love and Meaning.
The young wound made me start looking for something that would calm the storm, that would remove it, or maybe just make it disappear once and for all. I talked to the teacher and asked her to move to a new class. She told me that whatever I asked for would be given to me. And I did move to a new class, to a new beginning. But that didn't calm me down. Shortly after that, I went to the municipality's youth department and asked to sponsor a child from a slum in the city. Twice a week, I would go to that slum in Herzliya, on the eastern edge of the city, to a family stricken by poverty and violence. There, I helped the 6-year-old boy with his studies. I helped him with his homework, talked to him about the things that were bothering him, and played ball games with him. This went on for several months. But even that wasn't enough. One day, I decided that the time had come to join a youth movement. I went to the Scouts branch near my home in the west of the city. I went to a few gatherings, but something didn't sit right with me there, and I didn't know what it was. Something inside me told me that my grandparents from Haifa and both of my parents had joined the Shomer Hatzair movement as children, and that I should do the same. I remembered that on one of my visits to my relatives in Ramat Aviv, I saw a nest of the movement in a shack behind their apartment. So I decided to go there and check it out. That's how I became a shmutznik in the Shomer Hatzair nest in Ramat Aviv. It was a new, exciting beginning. Something that might finally have the same meaning I was looking for. That peace, that opportunity to breathe. I didn't think at the time about the strange attraction of a boy from the affluent west of Herzliya, who actually goes to the Shomer Hatzair nest in faraway Ramat Aviv. Filled with a desire to fit in, I went to the group's first gathering. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. The queen of the group. She was a beautiful girl, her eyes were intelligent and mischievous. Her hair was long, and a big, confident smile was plastered on her face. This was my second infatuation. Or at least what I considered infatuation at the time. An instant infatuation, all in my head. I was so intoxicated that I couldn't get a word out of my mouth. The search for a new beginning, for meaning and companionship, instantly turned into one and only longing, to see that girl. Debating how to deal with my desperate feelings, I fell silent. I enveloped myself in silence, both in the group meetings and especially around that girl. This situation couldn't last long. I had to do something, but I didn't know what to do. In the end, I decided to do something. I went to her house without an invitation, with a bouquet of flowers in my hand. It was a large house, a private house. A private house in the Afeka neighborhood, on the northern border of the Ramat Aviv neighborhood of those days. The girl opened the door to me in surprise. Out of politeness, she let me into her home and offered me a drink. We had a short, polite conversation. Nothing was said in the conversation. I realized I had to go. I tucked my tail between my legs and walked away. This strange meeting, from which nothing seemed to come of it, did not stop my thoughts about that girl. But as time passed and my thoughts did not come to fruition, my suffering increased. In the end, and apparently to conclude what was obvious to me, I sent that girl a short letter. "I love you," I wrote to her and placed the letter in her mailbox. Her reply was a direct continuation of the conversation we had had at her house. "That's very flattering to me, and I like you," she wrote to me, "but I don't love you, and I also have a boyfriend." At the end of that year, the group met to decide what event to hold to celebrate the end of the year. I told my friends that I thought it was necessary to do something that would have meaning and a connection to the movement we were in. But the friends decided that the closing event for the end of the year would be a meal at a Chinese restaurant in the city and nothing more. It was a kind of excuse for me. An excuse to leave. Without love and without meaning, I had no reason left to stay there. I arrived at that girl's house for the last time. This time I placed a relatively long letter in her mailbox. I wrote to her that because of my feelings for her, I was unable to get many words out of my mouth, and my thoughts also fell silent for a while. I wrote to her that in my opinion the movement must have more meaning than a social gathering during leisure hours, but now, with things clear in both areas, it was time to leave and therefore I would not come to the closing party at the Chinese restaurant. My journey was now directed to another branch of the Shomer Hatzair, this time in a poor neighborhood in East Herzliya. Among other friends and acquaintances,